Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's the original tea guy here with another tea review. Apologies for my 2-month hiatus, I'm back, and also I'm trying to address the audio issue. I've got a mic, so hopefully that will help with the audio, but I'll crack on with the review now. So today I'll be reviewing the Twinings Chakra Silver Tips tea. This is a tea from Indonesia, grown in Bandung in Java. So as you can see here, the leaves are silvery, hence the name. There is a slight yellow and green tinge to it, and there is a few brown leaves, slightly browned leaves. That might be due to improper storage. There are also a few quite dark green leaves as well. The actual leaves themselves feel extremely fluffy, almost like velvet. And if the camera was better, you would be able to see this kind of powder all over the plate, which has been deposited by the leaves. So these leaves are needle-like in appearance, and they consist of mostly just the tip and the first leaf. And so they're just picked and then left in the sun to dry. So it is a white tea we're dealing with here. So the description given by Twinings says this tea is a light, creamy tea with some peach and rose notes. And they suggest 1 rounded teaspoon per person, and then also 1 for the pot, and to steep for 5 minutes. But they say not with boiling water. First bring the water to the boil, leave it for 5 minutes to cool down, and then proceed. And so let's go on with the actual leaf itself. So it smells dry, it smells slightly musky, and there's a slight creaminess, but it smells very sweet, almost flowery, but there is a definite sweetness to it, like a very sweet smelling flower. I can't think of any off the top of my head, unfortunately. So I've warmed up my tea tasting crockery, and so they recommend, like I said earlier, 1 rounded teaspoon. So I've warmed up the tea tasting crockery, so I'll leave it here for about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They get a bit damp. So now it smells quite creamy. That muskiness has come through, and there's slight grassy notes as well. And so it's remarkable how the smell changes so quickly when it's just slightly damp or slightly warmer. So I'll begin with the first infusion. So this is boiling water, which has been left for about 5 minutes to cool. So I'll steep this for 5 minutes, and I'll be back in 5 minutes. So this has steeped for 5 minutes. Incredibly, the leaves have darkened considerably, so we're getting a lot of green and a lot of light and dark browns. You might be able to see the camera. The leaves smell very sweet, almost like a light caramel. There's a slight grassiness, but yeah, I think light caramel is probably the best description. The liquid is very light, has a slight green tint to it, has good clarity, but again, if the camera was slightly better, you might be able to see a slight, those things I was describing earlier on the plate, that kind of fluffiness which fell off the leaves is floating inside the liquor. You won't be able to see this, and you need quite a good camera to see it. And so the smell, slight grassiness, but there's a very strong milky, creamy quality to the smell. And so let's have a taste. So it's incredibly sweet. It tastes like a very light caramel. There's a slight floweriness, but I'm not getting that rose through. There's a definite floweriness, but I can't put my finger on it. But it's not rose. There's no fruit notes at all, though. it tastes very creamy, and the texture is incredibly creamy as well. But it has this quite dry finish, not exceptionally dry, but there is a slight dry finish to it. So I'll put it in a clear cup so you can see slightly better. So it's very clear. I'm not sure if you might be... In this clear cup, it becomes much more obvious, those velvet-like particles at the bottom of the cup, but I'm not sure if it's coming up on the camera. So there's a slight greenish tinge to it, but it's definitely very pale yellow. And yeah, so a bigger sip, you really get this sweetness, creaminess through. But that's the first infusion, so I'll do the second infusion and I'll tell you how that tastes. So I'll be back in a moment. So it's been a further 5 minutes. This is the second infusion. The leaf has darkened further still, so you can see it's almost completely brown now. There's very little light. Leaves. There is a few hints of green here and there, but it's mostly light brown, dark brown. The musky notes have gotten through very strong, but there's still a slight caramel, light caramel, sorry, I was going to say sweet caramel, but light caramel smell to the leaves. The liquor has gotten slightly darker, but it's barely noticeable, so you have to really look through a large volume of it to see the colour change. The smell is still quite sweet, not as sweet as it was before. Slight creaminess, and that muskiness has gotten quite strong in the actual scent of the liquor. So the liquor has still very sweet, still that light caramel taste to it, but it's definitely not as creamy as it was previously. The finish is a lot drier, and the overall mouthfeel is not as creamy as it was before. The flowery notes haven't strengthened at all, and I'm still not getting any fruit notes at all. So yeah, it just tastes like an incredibly sweet tea. It tastes very sweet, like a light caramel. And I wouldn't say this is a very one-dimensional tea, but it is lacking nuance, it is lacking complexity. If you look, you might be able to see it's slightly darker. There is a tea leaf in here, obviously, but the amount of the fluffy particles within the tea have increased considerably. Yeah, this tea is lacking complexity, which is really unfortunate. It does taste fantastic though. It is a really enjoyable tea, but it's very simple. And so I would, definitely drink this with friends or family, but it's not going to be something, at least brewed in this fashion, something you would drink if you want to be a true kind of tea connoisseur and really expand your horizons when it comes to the drinking of tea. But it is absolutely delicious. It has this wonderful taste, but it's very, very simple. And so with that in mind, I think I will give this a rating of perhaps a 3.25, I think is fair. So a 3.25, which is, I would say, a C+. So if 3 is average, C, this is a C+, a 3.25. Very enjoyable, but lacks nuance and depth of flavour. So that was Twinings Chakra Silver Tips. I hope you, in the description below, I will leave links to buy this tea if you'd like to. And as always, have a very pleasant afternoon.